rolling tumors to roaring lampooners, the Tigers on a Roll show starts in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back, Auburn family. The Deuce Knight era has begun. Welcome back to Tigers on a Roll. If you are listening to this right now, you are probably still elated after what we just witnessed in Jordan-Hare. We came into tonight expecting an off-kilter game, and we got it at first, and we definitely expected the win against Mercer, and we got that too. But did anyone, and I mean anyone, expect to see the future of Auburn football unfold on the very first play from scrimmage? Tonight, the Tigers didn't just beat Mercer 62-17. They might have just found their spark. We'll dive into that, but we have to address the Tiger in the room. They handed the keys to the offense. They handed the keys to the offense to the true freshman Deuce Knight for his first career start. And what does Deuce do? First play of the game, snap, looks right, looks left, takes off, 75 yards to the house, a touchdown for Auburn within the first 10 seconds of the game. The stadium absolutely erupted. If you were there, it was a moment to remember. And he didn't stop there. We're talking about a school record tying performance of 6 touchdowns in the game, 4 on the ground, 2 through the air, and he finished with 401 total yards of offense. I know it's Mercer, but you cannot fake that kind of explosiveness. The zip on the ball, eye-popping. The decision-making, surprisingly crisp. For all of the things Hugh Freeze had said about him not being prepared, Deuce Knight was certainly ready for the moment, and the freshman stepped in and managed the game with a kind of swagger we have not seen yet this season. And that's not about the opponent. That is about his raw talent. And beyond the Deuce show that we've been talking about all week, the rest of the team seemed to feed off of the energy they got from the spark. Malcolm Simmons, absolutely electric. 5 catches, 149, and a 91-yard bomb from Knight. I don't care if it was a broken play. That's 2 athletes going out and playing ball. The offense looked fast, fun, and finally confident. Now, was it perfect? No. The defense gave up a couple of early drives that made us sweat for a second. And I told you, do not forget, I told you that was going to happen. I called it in the preview show. Mercer is a good team, but you want to see us lock that down faster. And I think that we will, because we will come into the very next game, which is the Iron Bowl, ready to go. But they tightened up when it mattered, and I applaud them for that. The most important stat from tonight, though, is not the 62 points. It is the record. With this win, Auburn moves to 5-6, and their bowl eligibility is on the line next week. We are 1 win away from a bowl game, and there is only 1 game left on the schedule. And when we talk about, we're going to talk about that right now. So let me bring in my guy, Walker, for a little post-game pod action. Walker, if you were not able to hear just a second ago, I said we are 5-6 now. We are raring up for the Iron Bowl, and we need to win this game to get bowl eligibility and to ruin Bama's season. But before we get to the Iron Bowl itself, what did you think, eye test, watching this game? What did you think, and who stood out to you?
Well, I mean, like you said earlier, obviously Deuce Knight, the star of the show, the one who absolutely tore it up. He was like 75% completion rating, which is bananas, especially if you're thinking for an Auburn quarterback. I mean, his first 2 runs of the game were touchdowns. I think it might have been even his first 3 runs for the games were all touchdowns. And then finally, they hemmed him up when he only ran for like 8 yards on the next run or something
Sure.
like that. So he looked unbelievable. And then you mentioned Malcolm Simmons. I think he had 195 yards coming into today, and then he just explodes, like you said earlier, has pretty much 150 yards receiving, that 91-yard bomb, like you said, for the touchdown where he never gave up on his route. And Deuce Knight actually threw the football, something that we had missed, through a lot of the previous beginning of the year and stuff. So I think obviously, you look at Deuce Knight, and then on the defensive end, you look at Elijah Melendez. Really, he has that pick six. He's been great for us all year. He's been very physical. He kind of gets overshadowed a little bit time to time because of Xavier Adkins being out there and being everywhere like we're used to seeing. But he really came to play today. I felt like you mentioned, our defense beginning of the game down a little bit. They didn't really show up the way that we're used to seeing a DJ Durkin defense show up. And then I think once they scored that, had their third scoring drive, I think DJ lit up into him a little bit, and you started seeing that Auburn defense come back out and really play well.
Yeah, and I had definitely previewed that yesterday, and I thought that Mercer. I mean, they're the number one. They're the number one team. I mean, I don't. I think they're fourth off in offensive scoring, but they're the number one
You know,
air yardage in the FCS, and like you cannot take those guys lightly. We were bound to have some problems because we have not been good at in pass defense this season. But I mean, Elijah Melendez, that is Deuce Knight on the offensive side of the ball and Elijah Melendez on the defensive side of the ball. That is two true freshmen tearing it up. And again, like I don't need people in the comments being like it's Mercer. Like I get it,
right.
but you will take that showing in Jordan-Hare at any point in the season. I don't care who it is. Those are two kids that are talent wise better than anyone that's a freshman through a senior on Mercer's team, and they showed it. And like you are just gearing up going into 2026, which really disappointing season for us this year. That is what we're looking at right now. You have to have the flashes so that everyone, and I don't know if it's DJ, I don't think DJ is going to be the head coach, but you have to have the flashes so that the next guy that comes in knows what he's working with and is going to put those kids in place to succeed, next fall. And I think that a lot of those kids this afternoon certainly did that. And you know what, Walker? I think that they can do it next week too. Like I don't, and these kids, like I said, the talent level is just so significant. It's better than Baylor, and I will say it right now, a week in advance. It may be better than a lot of the positions that Alabama is going to put on the field too. Next week is so huge for Auburn in so many ways. If these kids can continue to keep having fun, the Iron Bowl is going to be a serious problem for Alabama. Who do you think? And I know we're going to do a little caveat to this. Walker and I both went and graduated from Auburn. We are Auburn homers. But Walker, who do you seriously think wins this game next Saturday? Doing a preview to the preview.
I think Auburn wins. I really do. I think, it's going to be interesting with the quarterback. We were all set Ashton Daniels starting, blah, 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 no looking back. And now you see Deuce Knight come out today. You might have to have some packages for him. And, you definitely, I think, bump him up to that QB2 spot in case
No
something
question.
happens to Ashton. You have to bump him up. I think, Jordan-Hare's a tough place to play. They haven't played at night in a very long time. Auburn is a lot more stout at night at Jordan-Hare than they normally are, especially when they play Alabama, dude. It's different when you're playing Alabama and you're at Auburn. It's going to be a lot crazier of a game. It's not like you're playing Georgia. It's not like you're playing Florida. It's not like you're playing LSU. It's like this is Auburn, Alabama, and Auburn is going to come out, and this is going to be the best game you're going to see him play all season, most likely. I'd be
Yeah,
surprised if it's not.
no question. And Alabama fans, have definitely reveled in the fact that they've been a decent program over the last few years. But like, let's not forget that their Alabama fans equally enjoy beating Auburn as Auburn fans enjoy beating Alabama. And if roles were reversed, they would also be looking at this game. You could lose 11 games a season and beat your in-state rival, and that is a good season for you. I don't care what state you are in, what program you're in, or whatever. I am going to say it right now. I also think that Auburn has the dogs on the field to beat Alabama next week. Alabama is licking their wounds from Oklahoma. I don't care what they did against Eastern Directional State, School of the Blind, whoever they played today, Eastern Illinois or whatever it was. Don't care. I do not think that Alabama is the powerhouse they used to be, and I absolutely think Auburn is on the up and up. I'm not going to attribute it to Durkin because, again, I don't actually. I'm gonna get this to you real quick. I don't know that Durkin necessarily has the game plan. I think what he needs to do this week is focus solely on defense, maybe check in with the offense. But Nix has figured this out with the guys that he has to work with, and I think that they give Alabama a damn good game. And if Durkin can get these boys playing on the defensive side of the ball like they were early in the season, Alabama is, I'm not going to say easy to shut down, but they are shut down a bull, if you want to make that a word. But it's an interesting thing. Like, do you think the early struggles, do you think that was Mercer scheming up a game plan to come play in Jordan Hare, let's call them a blue blood Auburn team? Do you think Mercer schemed up all week to come play Auburn and put up the 14 points early? Or do you think that was DJ Durkin not being able to focus solely on the defense, knowing that we've had some passing defense struggles this season?
I think it was a little bit of a mixture of both, but I definitely think, like you said, Durkin needs to focus on the defense. I think, like you said, Derek Nix has it figured out. Like, he's getting the ball to our best players finally. Thank God. We've been waiting all year to see that. I think Durkin definitely needs to focus on defense. And the thing with this Alabama team this year that we're not used to seeing with them is they don't run the ball very well. They're a great passing team. They've got Jeremy Bernard, Ty Simpson, who is actually, since that Oklahoma game, he's been struggling. He threw, I think, 2 picks today against
Yep.
East Illinois. So, he's not having the best closeout to the season that we originally thought he was going to have. But, they've got Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard. They can throw it all over the field, but they can't run. They can't pound the rock like they used to, which is something that we're good at stopping. So if they ever get in a third and short situation, it's like, can they run it on us? I don't really think they can. It's gonna be hard for them. So I think if you can get that secondary coached up, you get the corners and the safeties all working together and doing well. I think it could be a very fun game for the Auburn fans, to say the least.
And before we get out of here, what score prediction are you putting on the table for next Saturday in the Iron Bowl in Jordan Hare?
Auburn 31, Alabama 27. I think, we saw McPherson getting healthy too, man. He had 2 good kicks today. Their
Yep.
kicker's not very good. He's getting booed off the field today. So I think we're gonna have some fun, especially when Alabama's got a bad kicker. So
I'll tell you what, I don't know that I'm going to go as high as you. I will say this. I think that McPherson is good for 9. And I would say, you know what? Screw it. I think McPherson's good for 9 points. And I think that our
okay.
offense is good for 3 touchdowns. I'm going 30 to 27. I'm going
Okay.
30 to 24. I'm going 30-24. Auburn wins in Jordan Hare on Saturday, and we will definitely be previewing that game next Friday. And Walker, I want to have you back on for that one because I think that we're going to have a lot of good insight into that one based off the stats from this week. And if anyone that's watching, thank you for dropping any of your chats and Q&As. We're not doing Q&As tonight in the chat on Twitch. But if you watched the Heisman odds pod that I did on Wednesday, I believe it was, I explicitly mentioned Ty Simpson, and I did not want to frame it as Alabama hate. I framed it as Ty Simpson fallen off, and he has gotten off balance, and he is not the guy that he was when he was well protected early in the season. Those are our score predictions for next Saturday, and we are going to lock them in. Maybe not this early, but we're locking them in. I know the line just went down on that Iron Bowl game. I think right now it is 5 points, 5.5 points, down from like 7.5 or something like that. I love to see that. Obviously, that's a lot of money being put on Auburn in Vegas, which is totally fine with me. We will see what we figure out as we get closer, as injury reports come out and whatnot. Walker, I appreciate you hopping on. Any last words for the fans today?
It's the best week of the year, man. It's the best week of the year. You got Thanksgiving, you got the Iron Bowl. Nothing beats it as an Auburn fan. I think we go out and I think we get this win. War Eagle, everybody.
War damn Eagle. Everyone, thank you for watching Tigers on a Roll. And if you would, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Check us out on Twitch when we go live and follow us on X and join the conversation. We are all over there keeping up with the Tigers as they are on a roll. Walker, I appreciate you so much, my guy. Good win out there, dominant win. Glad to see Deuce Knight coming into form, hopefully, to be the starter next season. Walker, I appreciate you, man. We will see you next time.
Of course. See y'all next time.